Lebechi Hospital in Owerri has come under scrutiny after a pregnant woman lost her life during a cesarean section allegedly performed with the aid of a YouTube video. Onyekachi Eze, the deceased husband, reported the incident to the Imo State Police Command, accompanied by Nollywood producer Stanley Ontop. According to Eze, the doctors at the hospital watched an instructional video on their phones while conducting the surgery, resulting in the tragic death of both his wife and the unborn child. The grieving husband recounted that he rushed his wife to the hospital when she went into labor, and doctors recommended an emergency C-section due to excessive bleeding. However, he was horrified to witness the medical team relying on online tutorials for the procedure. Shortly after the failed operation, the doctors responsible reportedly fled, leaving the hospital staff to face the consequences. Authorities have since arrested the hospital owner and some nurses, while efforts to apprehend the absconding doctors are ongoing. The incident has sparked outrage, raising concerns about medical negligence and unqualified personnel endangering lives in private healthcare facilities. What are your thoughts on this story, sir?
It's not strange. This is part of life in our country. From day to day, we hear these kind of stories. People who should not be in offices are occupying offices in our country. You know, so that is it. So when we hear stories like this, it's not strange because it's part of our day-to-day life. Otherwise, why should a doctor, is he not trained? Why should a doctor be watching a video and you are doing operation? How many eyes do you have? You watch and you are operating. By the time you watch, the operation will stop. You watch for 5 minutes, then you do what you've watched. Then after completing that section you watch, you go back to the video again to continue. So it's funny that we have this kind of stories in our country. Very funny.
But these are certified doctors, as it were.
When you say certified, how many certified people do we have in this country?
I mean, haven't gone to the university.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, practice.
Yes.
We have the people that do the housemanships.
Yes.
And all of those. What are your thoughts as regard them coming out and using YouTube videos? Is it that the educational system did not quite work? Like they didn't learn what they went to school to learn? Are you going to now put it under pressure? And now, another angle I want us to look at this story is on the point where you say parents probably pressure their children to do something they are not interested in. And now these are the results because they didn't pay as much attention as they should.
No, it's not really. I will not agree to that completely.
Okay.
Because students nowadays, even the courses they choose to go for, they are not serious, they are not committed. The orientation today is bad. Any man, any woman who is thinking that Nigeria of today has a good orientation is deceiving himself. So when we talk about education in the 90s, in the 80s, it's not the kind of education we have today. Nobody is interested in learning.
So what do you think went wrong?
The values have changed. I have canvassed it many times. Nigeria is not built on values. Nigeria as a society is not built on morals. Everybody is living on his own level of morality. There should what we call state morality that is used to gauge the individual morals. If the individual moral differ from the state morality, then you are punished. But in Nigeria, everybody operates on his own level of morality. We do not have a defining values as a society. And that is the problem we have in this country. Until we have several orientation agencies, what are they doing? Doing nothing. They collect salaries and the allowances and do all sorts of funny things in the offices and all that. Do they orientate the people? Do they tell the people how society should be? Do they tell the people how you should govern society? Do they tell the people how parents should live with their children? So what are they there for? Doing nothing. So I'm not surprised. We have been in the academic world for several years. Year by year, the interest in education, interest in learning is diminishing, is dropping year by year. People are not interested in books. So when we talk about books, it's like you are bothering them.
Right. Now, you know that when you go through this educational system, like we rightly said, there are exams. I mean, there are steps towards your progression. from level 1 to level 2. How do these people get to scale up? Are we going to now say it is due to the system of education? How do they get to pass when you look at it and get to this point where they've graduated and are using YouTube videos for surgeries? Because, you know, it's a step-by-step process.
Yes.
Personally, I went to the university. Yes. You're in year 1, there are tests, there are assignments. You're being graded as regards your development as a person, one, and also what you have learned in your classes which you've attended, which helps you to progress to level 2. Now, how do you think people like this still get to come out, even like you said, with their disinterest in education, given the declining state of students not willing to learn? How do they still get to graduate?
They have to graduate because the drivers of the process have defective values. Have you seen situations where lecturer have boys who collect money for them and award grades? Somebody who have gone through the university must have had that repeatedly.
Of course.
So it's not new to anybody that people buy grades in Nigeria. So
but for something as sensitive as medicine.
What is sensitive? Nothing is sensitive in Nigeria. As far as money is involved, as far as money is going to put some money in somebody's pocket, nothing is sensitive. Let me make my money and live the kind of life I want to live. That is his lifestyle in Nigeria.
But the doctors and the lecturers and the professors for teaching, you know, a sensitive course like medicine should do understand that human life is involved. When I come to a clinic, you're technically putting your life, that lady put her life in the hands of the doctors.
Yes.
And now we get this sort of report. I mean, what reforms do you think should happen in the educational sector to help?
The doctor needs to measure. It's not just an issue of the doctors alone.
Okay.
It's all areas of our lives as a country and as a people. The doctors need to measure up. That you are a doctor, your morality cannot be different from that of the society. When everybody in society needs money to live big, the doctor also wants to live big as well as every other person. So in a situation, whatever the doctor can do to get that which he wants to measure up with society, he's going to do it. So it's not an issue we go to persecute the doctors, we go to crucify them for not being the doctor that they ought to be. The lawyers we have in this country, are they ought to be the lawyer they should be as a society? When you see a criminal, when we talk about a criminal, persons who we know very well, a pop-up yesterday, embezzling funds, and a lawyer is coming up to say that this man did not, and when we know this, his social status. So all areas of our lives as a country is bad. You know, so it's not an issue we go to isolate the doctor and say, oh, you have a different moral. It can't be different. It's a holistic society, and we have a governing values to which everybody want to measure up with. So that is it. But what we are saying is that for a 21st century society, we should at least have some level of change as a people. That has been my campaign. We should at least have some level of shame that this is not how the kind of stories that are coming out from our country. At this level of world development should not be for a country called Nigeria. That has been my pain as a person in this country. You see what Donald Trump is doing to Africans? Go back to your continent. Go back to your country. You have resources. The place you are running down here, a Nigerian citizen, your wife will be pregnant. At the verge of having birth, you carry the child to America to go and claim American citizenship. Is it? Are we really human beings as far as we are concerned in this country? So what we are saying is that our values are bad. All we want to live that kind of big life that we want to live. But the sacrifice that is required to acquire that kind of life we want to live, we are not ready to make the sacrifice. And that is the problem we have as a people.
So why do you think people aren't ready? Are people not informed? You know, is there a structure as regards, you talk about the 80s and, you know, certain values that they had then as regards to education and way of life. Now that you rightly mentioned that we've lost that, how do we go back there? How do we become those people with high-class values, tending towards the right direction in good morality and ethics?
Well, we are a religious society.
Quite religious.
Unfortunately, religion does not impart on us. Education does not impart on us. Otherwise, when you see an educated man in those days, when you see an educated woman, you know that this woman is educated. Her approach, her attitude, her utterances defines education. But today, we don't have that anymore. So what I simply say, people should reorganize their existence. Nigerians... Individually as a country, we should reorganize our existence. We should redefine our priority as a people. What do we really want as a people? Of all the messages that we have all over the world, of all the opportunities that we have as a people and as a country, society is pushing Nigerians into doing things they ought not to do. Otherwise, a doctor knows very well that that thing that he is doing is equal to the life of that woman. That any mistake in this act that I am doing here right now can eliminate this woman. That doctor ought to know that very well. And the man who, the hospital, so to say, that employs this doctor ought to know whether this doctor is qualified or not. But because we take everything for granted, all we want is money. You know, this woman that died now, before they will touch the woman, you will, the man would have hold the man, push the man to some corner to pay deposit. Otherwise, we will not touch your woman. You know, but at the end of the day, what is the deposit paid for? For her death. If you go to government hospitals, you see crowd, multitude of people waiting to see doctors. As at 10, 11 o'clock, doctors have not started seeing patients in Nigeria. You see crowds of people. So what is the meaning of that? And you see people waiting, you see doctors discussing among themselves, laughing and all that, and crowds of sick people are waiting somewhere.
Which is rather sad. Now, I want to know your thoughts as regards this privatization for private doctors to be able to set up their practice. Do you think is that helped us as a people, or it has maimed us as a people? This incident happened in a private clinic.
Yes.
Now, you now rightly mentioned patients waiting on doctors in the government clinic. Now, to some degree, many of those doctors in government establishments usually have private practices.
Yes.
Now, do you think the setup or the idea of private practice has helped us as a people or has maimed us as a people?
All over the world, you have both government hospitals and private hospitals. It is not only government. Investment is in all areas of life. This is a private investment, so to say.
Yes.
Yes. As somebody has invested in this media outfit here, somebody can also say, I've been trained as a medical doctor, let me own my personal outfit. What we are saying here, the ethics, the rules, the morals governing that profession, we should uphold it. Whether private or government, there should be no separation in values and morals in when we talk about issues of performance. Performance is performance. Performance is performance, whether government or private. So because I'm a private man, therefore you put your zeal, you put your efforts to do what you're supposed to do because you want to make more money. Then when it comes to government, you feel so relaxed. How much am I being paid here that I should kill myself here? You now bring another kind of orientation, kind of satanic mindset. So when you come here, you run with a different orientation. Then when you come to your own, you run with it. It means you are very ungodly. You are very godly. People just go to church without the mind of God. That's what we do in this country. Vanity of vanities, that's what we are pursuing. So what we are saying here, what is right is right. For any educated man, for any educated woman, we should always pursue what is right, whether private or government.